Module Overview. Module 9 critically examines the evolving representation, participation, and influence of women and minority groups in the history of cinema, both in front of and behind the camera. Historically marginalized or stereotyped within the dominant film industries, women and minority filmmakers, actors, and creators have challenged prevailing narratives and opened new pathways for storytelling that reflect diverse experiences, identities, and social realities. The module investigates the gender and racial politics of film production, distribution, and reception from cinema's inception through the contemporary era. It surveys pioneering women directors such as Guy-Blaché and Dorothy Arzner, the emergence of African American cinema, indigenous filmmakers, queer cinema, and the gradual breakdown of systemic barriers in Hollywood and global film industries. We explore how intersectionality, considering race, class, gender, sexuality, and has shaped film cultures, and how contemporary movements like Me Too, Black Lives Matter, and calls for decolonization are impacting film art and industry structures. Attention is given to the challenges these groups face, including representation, access to funding, typecasting, and institutional discrimination, as well as their groundbreaking contributions to film aesthetics, genres, and cultural dialogues. Learning objectives. By the end of this module, you will be able to trace the history of women's and minority participation in global cinema industries, identify key filmmakers, actors, and movements that have expanded diversity in film, analyze the ways cinema has historically stereotyped or marginalized women and minorities, critically assess contemporary efforts to increase equity and representation in film, explore the cultural and political implications of diverse storytelling in cinema. 1. Women in early cinema and the silent era, Alice Guy-Blaché, France, USA. Often cited as the first female filmmaker, active 1896 to 1920s, directing hundreds of films, pioneering narrative cinema. Dorothy Arzner, USA. Hollywood's only female director in the 1920s to 1940s, innovator of female-centered narratives. Actresses as stars and symbols. The silent era's Mary Pickford, Lillian Gish, and Greta Garbo shaped ideals of femininity, but often trapped within angel or vamp archetypes. Women were often excluded from technical roles, but thrived as editors, scriptwriters, and producers. 2. Minority cinemas and resistance. African American cinema, early race films, by Oscar Micheaux, challenged Hollywood's racist stereotypes. The Black cinema renaissance of the 1960s and 1970s, Blaxploitation and socially conscious films, Spike Lee, Ava DuVernay, and Barry Jenkins as contemporary leaders. Indigenous and First Nations cinema, films by Native American, Aboriginal Australian, and First Nations filmmakers reclaim cultural narratives and sovereignty. Challenges of funding and representation remain. LGBTQ plus cinema, early coded representation and underground cinema, emergence of queer theory and new queer cinema, Todd Haynes, Gus Van Sant, women of color and intersectional voices.
Contemporary voices like Dee Reese, Chloe Zhao, and Mira Nair expand perspectives on race, gender, and diasporic identity.
3. Hollywood and systemic barriers. The studio system's enforcement of strict gender roles on screen and off, the casting couch, wage gaps, and the male-dominated Directors Guild, the celluloid ceiling, and efforts to break through with initiatives like the Reframe movement, the Tucker Me Too movement's impact on industry culture and policies. 4. International perspectives, European feminist cinema, Chantal Akerman, Agnes Varda, and Catherine Bigelow challenged narrative form and patriarchal gaze. Asian women filmmakers, figures like Yasujiro Ozu's protege, Mikio Narusa's collaborators, and modern directors like Naomi Kawase and Apichat Pong-Wira Sethikal's female counterparts. Latin American minority voices, films confronting colonialism, gender violence, and indigenous rights. 5. Contemporary shifts and future directions. The rise of diversity initiatives in festivals and funding bodies. Growing audience demand for authentic stories leading to commercial success. Streaming platforms as a double-edged sword for minority filmmakers. Intersectional feminist filmmaking and collaborative community-driven projects. Continued a